Good evening, everybody. Excuse me, and welcome to the March 12th, 2024 meeting of the Grafton Mass Accessibility Advisory Commission. I'm Rob Polsnelli, and I call this meeting to order a little bit late at 6:36. As a preliminary matter, please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Alexis Henry.
Present.
Bob Berger.
Berger, aye.
Excuse me, Paul Latorno.
Aye.
Christy Proctor.
Aye.
Roger Trahan.
Trahan here.
And Rob Polsnelli is here, and we are missing Catherine, which was a plan. She had a conflict this evening, so she let me know, I think sometime last week, that she wasn't going to be here. And nobody else is on our agenda for this evening. So I'll again forego the long, boring remote participation, blah, 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 blahs, and we can get to it. So starting out, folks, I'm going to actually add a one sub A to, on behalf of myself and the commission, extend Roger my deepest sympathies.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I lost my dad a week ago Friday, and he was 91, perfect health, lived on his own. So I guess the motto that we all want to go by is live long, and go quickly. And he went and sleep. So yeah, I was blessed, and so thank you for those condolences.
You're very welcome. I'm sure he was a very proud man.
Yes, awesome guy. I'll miss him dearly.
All right. So the Mass Office on Disability is opening up the municipal ADA improvement grants early this year. So the open enrollment period or application period is going to be May 1st through June 14th. I put the link on our agenda so anyone can go and look. I mean, this is the same annual grant opportunity that we did apply for this past fall. So we can't talk about it now, but I'd actually I think rather wait and just take it up as new business to see if we might want to go back to our, TA or assistant TA and resubmit our previous application. Or if there's anything that makes more sense. But again, I'd rather get through the announcements, and like I said, we'll circle back to that.
And William Blake, Mr. Chair,
oh yeah,
William Blake
yes.
I don't know if it was an individual reply or reply to all, but William Blake had said, that he would be willing to help in any way, submit or resubmit any applications.
Fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, he's been a great partner in all this, and obviously that's passive least resistance. So like I said, so we'll circle back around to that a little bit later on after we get through all the fun announcements and all that fun stuff. So the state, excuse me, of Massachusetts has a bill that's been working through committees. It's Bill H.4396, an act relative to individuals with intellectual disabilities. I know I put a little summary there. And I'll add also too that this is co-sponsored by State Senator Michael Moore, who's our Senate rep. But anyway, the long and short of it is the bill is looking to go through all the existing statutes and laws in Massachusetts. The laundry list, I started counting and then I started laughing at myself when I realized how many different statutes are affected or potentially affected by this. But the statute is intended to remove any sort of derogatory, demeaning, insensitive language from our existing laws and statutes. So they're not changing anything that we're doing. Again, it's purely just semantic changes that they're suggesting. But there's a lot of them, like in the neighborhood of hundreds when I was flipping through. So I thought it was a wonderful effort. I was really happy to see our state senator on the co-sponsor list. So I certainly would encourage anyone who is behind this to, certainly make sure that he knows that we're behind it. Certainly to our state rep, David Meridian, or I always say his name wrong. How do you pronounce it?
Meridian.
Meridian, thank you. Yeah, I got Meridian in my head a long time ago and I just can't jar it loose. But anyway, but it'd be great to follow up with him too for anyone who again wants to make sure this gets through. And like I said, it's still, I think, working its way through committees. It might have had a readout late February, but that was it. So probably be a slow roll, but it's great to see the state doing things that towns like Grafton have already been working on. So go Grafton, way to be ahead of the state. Also, Massachusetts is Developmental Disability Awareness Month. So every month, the National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities and their partners collaborate to highlight how people with and without developmental disabilities come together to form strong communities. Their theme this year was A World of Opportunities, focusing on people working together to remove obstacles to building communities where everyone can do well and succeed. I did put a link in there to their webpage. That's the Administration for Community Living, which is a subsidiary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So there's some neat information on there and just interesting stuff. So I thought that would be great to put out there. I will also add, I've been in the autism service community since 1995. So certainly this is a near and dear to my heart. Miss going to the State House for some of the cool things that they do for the awareness months. But anyway, there's some really good things happening out there. It's really exciting to see. And then I had two late breaking any other announcements that came from our health department. First, there's a Narcan training on March 21st at 6:30. I wanted to make sure I just announced it. There's great information up on our webpage, or the town's webpage about that. So anyone who might be interested in attending, there's no pre-registration required, but they are encouraging people to pre-register. And it will be held at South Grafton Community Center. And then in conjunction, I think a little bit with that, there's also a community survey that they just released. And that is basically the overall focus is combating the local opioid issues, I think is how they described it. Included with that, we did receive some funds from that massive opioid settlement. And I think some of that discussion will be about how we might actually use those funds to help in this effort. So anyone again who might be interested or have some ideas, I highly encourage you to please participate in that study. It's online. Again, just go to grafton-ma.gov. And there's some links, I think, right on the homepage still. If you don't see it there, the Department of Health's page definitely has all the cool flyers. So anyway, sort of all my long-winded announcements for this evening. Did anyone else have any additions? Fantastic. All righty. On the external correspondence front, I did not receive anything this week. So just leaving that on for hopefully the next time. Meeting minutes, my friend Christy, you said you do have access now? If you don't mind.
I do.
Well, Christy is pulling those up. Could I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 13th, 2024?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Fantastic. Christy, you were doing that. So
I'm sorry, the first one was Bob.
Roger.
I'm sorry, the first one was Bob. Oh, first one was Roger.
Roger. And the second one was Paul.
Paul, thank you.
By the way, Rob,
Yeah.
your
Yes, sir.
your title on the page is Beth.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
From the health department.
I'm usually Rob from the health department.
That's right. Yeah, we were talking about that. There we go. Thank you, Paul.
And I don't
You're
even
welcome.
change it.
In your case, I guess it's close enough, right?
Yeah, I don't care.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on the meeting minutes?
Mr. Chair.
Roger, please go right ahead.
These are just a few, but
Yeah.
they're just more grammatical type of things. Like starting with announcements, the numbers 10 through whatever are 9 ahead of themselves, and they should be 1. Unless I did something when saving them. Oh, you know
That,
what? When
yeah,
I
that may
print
be.
when I printed them, I must have done something. And when I printed them, they 1 through whatever ended up being 10 through whatever. Okay, all right. All right.
Roger,
Forget I even
no, did you print them off the meeting packet?
yes.
I bet that was me. I copied them over
Oh.
as a Word document to paste them in because it's easier than dealing with the PDF to put
Oh,
it
and it
into the,
continued the numbers.
it must have continued the numbers.
Oh, okay. Okay, so all right, so that's
So
fine. All right.
I'm happy you pointed that out. And just for the record, then, yeah, the draft minutes in our meeting packet for today's meeting are incorrectly numbered. And sorry
All
about
right.
that. That is 100% on
That
me.
that's okay. Then on
Good
number
tip it for next time.
all righty. On number 2, external correspondence, it's Justin Wood, not Woods. So just knock the S off of in the very first sentence, Justin
Thank
Wood.
you.
And then also at the end of that discussion, in the meantime, Mr. Berger will reach out to Justin Wood. So it's just simply, and that it was a 1 sentence paragraph further down. In the meantime, okay, yeah. And then the other thing is, I guess switching back to that number 2 first paragraph, the last sentence. Um, Roger Trahan added that. Where is it? Under external correspondence, the first paragraph.
Oh, yep.
Okay, so, but not necessarily the seating.
Not
Necessarily
necessarily.
not necessarily the seating. In other words, I was simply trying to make the point that sometimes even a seated arrangement could be inaccessible for someone that would need to stand, let's say, because of a back issue or something. I've seen that in
Correct.
town meeting. So yeah, and then that was those were the only uh, edits that I would recommend.
Perfect. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. I know when I looked through, yeah, I definitely didn't catch anything and clearly was not reading
I
as
only
closely as
I
Roger.
only caught select board, and I did go back and update so that now we have our attendance as present versus yes.
Perfect. 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 All righty. Well, hearing no further discussion, we'll take a vote on the meeting minutes for February 13th as amended here in the meeting by roll call. And sorry, I'm going to change the sequence because it's easier to do it off the screen. Roger Trahan,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Paul Letourneau,
Aye.
Bob Berger,
Aye.
Rob Paulsonelli, aye. And with that, I declare the motion carried 6-0.
Thank you.
Perfect. No, thank you. And Christy, as always, thank you for doing this. You're so good.
They were awesome.
Yeah. It is, and they're so helpful. I mean, and I know that's why they're requested that we do it anyway, but they're seriously wonderful and helpful. Alrighty, big truck day. So I'll give a brief update first and then open things up. So I did reach out to Adam Lapointe. There's no, fortunately for us, there's sort of no real timeline, application process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He just said, yeah, cool, we can get you a table. You can sit next to the rec department. I said, that sounds great. So without having obviously, said, I said that we would come back and we would be discussing what we actually, want to do during our time there at Big Truck Day, assuming that's something we still want to participate in. But without question, though, he was more than happy to have us be there to represent the commission and share information, with any members or members of the community who might participate. So, yes, Mr. Letourneau.
What is Big Truck Day?
So, in short, Big Truck Day is an opportunity for, think about like police departments, fire departments, EMTs predominantly. But I know sometimes other big trucks get into it, but they all come together in one big, huge parking lot and make an event of it. And it's really an opportunity to give people, well, especially young children, that's sort of the real target audience, the opportunity to come in contact with policemen or police officers, fire personnel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, plus their equipment in a non-emergency situation where it's a little bit safer. There will be opportunities where lights go on, sirens go on. So it is sometimes loud, although there is the 1 hour sensory friendly block, that they'll set aside to sort of minimize that for populations who need that. But one of the other things that's great about it too is it not only for young children, but for people who might have a harder time responding or might not react in typical fashions. It's another opportunity for them to again be in contact with emergency responders, their equipment, and quite frankly, from my perspective, more importantly, for the emergency responders to be in contact with them also. So they actually have some context and some idea, when they're coming into a home and they know that there's, a child with autism who lives there. What does that mean? How does that play out? How might that affect my duty as an EMT and how I perform my duties? So it's a huge benefit of something like this. I think for the most part, it's a really just fun time to go and see all the cool equipment and talk to some fire personnel and all that. But yeah, but in a nutshell, that is what it is. I think hopefully that was enough of a summary for everyone. Anyone want to add? Okay, so
I think that's great because when I was a small child, just a couple of years ago, my grandfather was a fireman, and he took my brother and I up to the fire station to see the fire trucks and do the sirens, and it scared me to death because I didn't know what to expect. So I refused to go into what they call then the fire barn.
Oh, nice.
So, but I think it's a great thing to introduce children to those things.
Right. Absolutely.
What's the date? I know it's somewhere in our.
That's great. Yeah, no, that's okay. So it's June 22nd, and I did not copy the hours back over. Does anyone remember off the top of their head?
No, but it is a Saturday.
Right. I feel like it's like a late morning into the early afternoon, but I really might be wrong. I'll see if I can pull it up quick.
I think it's 10 to 2. I think I asked pause for people to come from 10 to 2.
Awesome. So I guess that being a great lead in. So I know we had a couple folks who were going to follow up. So before we start maybe taking motions, we can hear Christy and Bob what you guys found out also, and then we can figure out what we want to actually then do. So Christy, what did they say? Or have you not heard yet?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
So
it's too far out.
So we need to come up with a program of our own to contribute.
Possibly. Yeah. And Bob, how about you? Did you hear anything from, was it the COA? Okay. All right. So we have ideas from last time. And I do think, Pause for People might over time respond. And we do have some time too. That's the other really nice thing here. It's only March. And we don't have to, again, submit anything, etc. We've got the table. So you guys can certainly
do we have a Barbie truck that we could give away? I don't know. There must be big Barbie truck.
There is.
It might be the Barbie car, which belonged to Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need the van, don't we? Unless it's
Yeah.
got the cool wheelchair in the trunk.
Hey, if someone had the Barbie Jeep that you could sit a little kid in, that would be hysterical. And we could use it as a photo op, not to let kids drive it around, but use it as a photo op to come up, as a backdrop.
Anybody got a cozy coupe? They were all the rage when my son was. Remember those cozy coupes? The little.
Yes.
Hey, Roger.
Yes.
Doesn't the library have photo ops of Ken and Barbie that you can take a picture?
They had one and that was set up a few months. Was it Ken and Barbie?
It
Was
was
that a
Ken and
Ken?
Barbie. I was
Okay.
up at the library doing something and I saw a shot of William in that.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
You
I
know
want to
what?
see that.
I will see if they would like to join in and get that down there. But it would probably be representing the library if they wanted to partake versus just lending us that stuff.
Can I offer a suggestion?
Yes.
Could we speak to the theater group that's in the old town building? What's Apple Tree? Is that it? See if they have a couple of people who'd like to play the parts of Barbie and Ken.
That would be super cute. That'd be really, really cute.
Thank you, Mr. Berger, for that other idea. Yeah.
I think kids would love to meet them.
It'd definitely be a draw, especially then if we get the Jeep there.
Yes.
Whatever that little thing is called. Oh, that'd be so cute. But yeah, it'd be a great draw and give us lots of opportunity for interactions. I don't know, folks, other ideas? Do we want to think about just digging into this part a little bit more? And again, because we do have time, like I said, I don't want to wait till the last minute or anything. I mean, realistically, we've got April and May, and then June meeting is, I mean, we finalize maybe a little bit in the June meeting, but it's not too far before the actual event. So
it's about 2.5 months. So
yeah,
plenty of time to put something together.
No, it goes 2.5 months is like a blink in the eye.
Because but Paul, because it's just 2 more meetings or
right
2.5 for us. That gets to be the hard part. We can do the follow-ups between, but it's hard to generate enough progress to sometime without breaking, open meeting law. So
just trying to think if there are other groups like Pause for People that, can kind of demonstrate, I don't know, somehow, I don't know, an accessible, like something
right.
disability related, but also, vehicle related.
Right.
Like someone who might have I had someone who drove an accessible car.
Yeah.
Bring their car to South Grafton Elementary School, and everybody saw how you had brakes on the steering wheel, like things like that.
Yeah, like a colleague of mine at UMass,
any kind of accessible vehicle.
She uses hand controls. I mean, it's something kind of like that, sort of tie the theme of the day, which is vehicles. And,
so the $64,000 question is, do we know anybody that has that vehicle, that's using that vehicle?
How about the Grafton Elders with the wheelchair, handicap wheelchair? I don't know, something like.
I mean, that's an accessible van, right?
No, that's not what I'm talking about. You're talking about the car with.
I mean, I know one person who drives, with hand controls.
And is this person willing to come to Big Truck Day?
I don't know.
Because that's what we're looking for.
I can ask her, but I'm just wondering if there's like an organization that, I mean, she's a friend of mine, she's a colleague. I could ask her, but
I mean, well, that might be an easy question. To ask her where she actually got her vehicle or who did the work on her vehicle to make those updates.
Yeah.
I'm still going to
Mr.
I
Chair,
think if the company that provides those vehicles for sale would come and demonstrate, that would be a good advertisement for them, and it would be good for the kids.
I mean, I think she drives, like a Toyota. I mean, it's a regular, it's a regular car that's adapted,
and that's the key.
Controls or, last time I drove with her, which was a number of years ago, it was, it was like it was a Toyota, Honda, Subaru, it was something,
Right. Mr. Berger. Oh, sorry.
Yep. You guys all have a great idea, but the problem is it's only 2 months away.
Yes.
So you can't say we're going to call a manufacturer, we're going to call a dealership.
Oh,
We've got to come up with, okay, we know Fred or we know Samantha. And somebody's going to reach out to Fred or Samantha and say, can you do us a favor and demonstrate to these kids and other elders on your vehicle? Because again, we're only 2 months away. If we were a year away, maybe we could call some of the manufacturers, but I don't think we have the luxury of that time.
No,
So,
probably not.
I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
Because it's the kids will be interested in this person's in a wheelchair, they're driving a car, and this is how they do it. I mean, this is the best idea I've heard out of this committee. For any of these, I think this is a home run.
Yes.
This is definitely a home run. The only problem is we need to know somebody who has this vehicle and then ask them nicely. Roger?
Yes. So I just texted a particular person who will, up until this point, remain anonymous, who may have accessible features on their vehicle. And so I'm awaiting a reply back. And then if it is yes, engage that person in a discussion regarding whether they would be willing to partake of Big Truck Day.
One thing is, I guess I wasn't thinking so much of like an auto manufacturer, but more like Easter Seals, you know, which is right. Aren't they in Worcester? Like maybe isn't the
I don't know who does those, because I agree with Alexis. I don't think, I mean, unless you're talking about one of the big vans, there aren't manufacturers who just make the big vans.
Yeah.
There are companies that accommodate traditional vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not thinking of getting a car dealer. I'm talking about an organization that, you know, does work with accessible transportation in a way that, you know, might have some stuff to demo. I don't know. So the person I'm thinking of, I'll reach out to my colleague and see if she's got some ideas for, she's very tied into the disability community, might have some ideas.
If it gets to the point where you want to get in touch with automobile dealers, I could do that and find out if they do have those kind of vehicles available, or are they special order, that sort of thing.
I think they'd be. They're special order. It's not something that you're going to see on the lot.
No, I realize, but maybe they have special order, and we could tell them what we're planning for next year.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea, but I just don't think we have the time. I think we need to just go to somebody who is using it and just ask them very nicely.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time we don't, because this is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Sorry, Mr. Chair. I took over.
Not at all. I think you're spot on. Like I said, it's really, it comes down to 2 meetings, and I know we can do some follow-up stuff in between, but it gets challenging and time goes quick. Yep. Very quickly. So that being said, who's got a friend that they want to ask?
We have 2. We have 2.
I'm happy to.
Okay.
Reach out to the person I'm thinking about and see if she's got some ideas. You know, she's definitely drives an adapted vehicle. I think her husband does as well. So, you know, I'm happy to reach out to them and see.
Mr. Chair, what do you think? Make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
I am going to suggest that Roger take this task, because I don't want to bother Rob. And why don't you 2 contact each other so we don't violate open meeting law on who can get who, and we'll keep Rob out of it for right now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Love it. And then we'll see what we get, and then we make have a pretty good idea right by next meeting what's going on and what we can do. Um, do we feel like that's enough?
I think we've
Yes.
beaten this one down. Well, between
Perfecto.
Roger looking for the library for those little cutouts, maybe we'll get a box of puppies and in the car. That any two of
That'd be
those would
funny.
be awesome.
It would be. Absolutely, absolutely. Very good, kids. All right. I think we'll just leave it at that then. So anyway, how about we do this
Wait a minute,
real
I want
quick
to
and
add
easy?
one more thing. I want to add one more thing.
Okay.
Do you think I should reach out to one of my instructors on sign language and see if I could get them to visit?
Good idea.
I don't know. I'm asking the group. And it would
Does
be
it
actually
stray?
I would have to get an interpreter.
But wouldn't that stray from? I guess I I can only speak for myself. Would maybe exercise caution not to make it the day something that it isn't. In other words, we'll have certainly plenty of opportunity at National Night Out, and that this is about like vehicles.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
No,
No, that's
I
a
do
good
like
idea.
National Night Out, and I think that's going to be a theme for National Night Out. But you're right. This is vehicles, and we're hitting it right on the spot.
Cool.
Mhm.
Right. And also a very, very good prompt, Roger.
Thank you.
National Night Out, we should probably start talking about next month.
Yep.
Because at that point, that one will only be a couple months away. Is it unbelievable as that is? Doesn't feel like it, but
Right.
very, very good. All right. Well, we'll make this easy by unanimous consent then. Does this sound like a plan everyone agrees with?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Perfecto.
Yep.
I love it. All right, kids, moving on. The Graph Rec Department Camp and Program Accessibility, I've more or less left on as a placeholder at the moment. I don't think we have anything active, but I did want to just note, because I don't think I said it last month, that we did send, or I did send the feedback on the survey and the assessment that Adam had shared with us and solicited, our feedback on. So he was very appreciative, as he always is. He's fantastic. So we'll see what the final versions look like and all, but I did just sort of wanted to make sure I included that to close that loop out. But I don't think there's anything else on sort of at the moment anyway to do there. They've been doing a really good job. ADA grievance procedure. Once again, my apologies for having delayed, not for any good reason, just busy. Moving this forward, I did speak with William. So his suggestion, and just I guess maybe a quick recap too, because this goes back a few meetings. Our commission had voiced some concerns over the adopted or newly adopted ADA grievance policy. That had just been passed, I think it was like a week before our meeting by the select board. So that's sort of why we had a discussion, talked about some of those concerns. His quick advice was, all of the policies in town should be living, breathing things. They're not set in stone. He would love to hear recommendations that we have, and review them. And then depending on sort of the nature of the feedback, how much feedback there is, either, make some changes and bring it back to the select board to be approved, or maybe request that we talk to him a little bit if it's something a little more extensive, and then again do that same thing. And additionally, that maybe one or more of us could also attend that select board meeting if we're kind of coming back with an updated policy of something that they just passed, and be able to just sort of speak to what the concerns were and why we had suggested some changes. So I thought that was great. He asked that the first step be for us to just sort of collect our feedback and send it to him in an email, so that he kind of assess again what we're talking about and whatever, and that will sort of then lead to probably whatever the next step would be. So, excuse me. So I would love to nominate Christy for this one as clerk, and I think you also had very nicely expressed or highlighted some of the ideas. So I feel like you'd be a great person to sort of make sure that it's collected from the group. So we did have, I think, a few notes in the meeting minutes from that meeting, but
Yep.
what I didn't do was put this stupid thing in the packet. Does anyone have a very easily accessible, and I think that I do, and I'll share it here in a second, the that policy? How about that, Roger? Do you remember what month that was?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay.
Was it in the fall? Was it in 23? It wasn't in 2020.
I think it was 23.
Oh boy.
I'm just going back through my all my documents, and I thought by date might be easier.
I'll be happy to look it up. I just can't find it at the moment because A, I don't have a second screen, and I'm
Fair
a
enough.
little,
Yeah.
I'm on my laptop, and I'm not VPN'd into my drive that has the commission notes, so I apologize.
No, not at all. Because I don't want to start just pulling up minutes after minutes after minutes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you exactly what. It was 12/5 of 23 because each of the procedures was signed off on. And so if you look under the procedures section, without having to go into their meeting packet, under their policies and procedures, the first one is Americans with Disabilities Act grievance procedure. If you click on that, it has the whole procedure and it's signed off on 12/5/23. And it's like 1.25 pages in length.
This is the select board.
Under the select board, under their policies and procedures, it's the first one listed. Under their, so graftonma.gov, and then under boards and committees, select board, and then policies and procedures. And then within that, it's the first sub bullet point.
And this is in fact the updated one.
Yes, and it's signed off on 12/5 of 23.
Yep. It's 2 seconds. All right, here we go. Thank you for finding that, Roger.
Sure.
I was going back through our minutes, trying to find it. All right, screen.
Why did we comment on it? And
I had put it in, I had included it in the meeting packet where we had first discussed it.
Okay.
And do you guys have the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
They come up. Okay, great. So that's, I was searching on my computer rather than looking through the town website. So good call, going the other way. All right. So I will, I know Christy and Roger, to my recollection, had the most feedback.
I can't wait. I'm looking at this going, oh man.
So Christy, I mean, I guess to that end though, so that it's coming from the group, do you mind outlining sort of what things you're seeing that we're going to include? And then because like I said, I feel like Roger had some feedback also, and I want to make sure that his input gets
I am drawing a blank. Oh boy.
Well, I think some of it is around the language that's being used even under the purpose. For example, we would consider adding in the language that includes the amendments of 2008. We'd also include that it's not only perceived discrimination, but alleged discrimination on the basis of an actual disability or perceived disability. I'm sorry. So we would update some of that language so that it would really look to update. So it's not so narrowly defined, because we want some more inclusive language in it. I wouldn't change anything about the timelines. That's not the That's
For
not,
sure.
I don't have any issue with those. Yeah. So the other thing I think, Bob, I think I remember you saying that there was an actual form at one time that people would fill out, but is that no longer the case?
I don't recall me saying that.
So no, back
Okay.
in, and hopefully this isn't changing anything for you folks. There was a form that was tucked in the back of the ADA self-eval that I don't know if it was ever put into practice. It's on the but it was like appendix, N or something at the very, 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 very end of the plan. 152 pages.
I remember, that's what I'm remembering. I'm remembering that form.
And I've never had a complaint.
Right. So I don't know or I can't recall if that form is actually still active or if it is just that a person with a complaint should reach out as, described here in this policy. Roger, do you have any better recollection on that?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. So
Yeah.
it's literally the last, hold on, give me 1 second here. It's the last 3 pages of the Town of Grafton accessibility plan from, I think that was 2019. I'm too far in now. I can't see the date on the top. But the last 3 pages, which are the appendix, I can't it doesn't title it. It's a Town of Grafton request for reasonable accommodation form. So that's sort of separate from a grievance. But that is, I think, what you're recalling. That's the form. I don't think the grievance was ever associated with a form, to my recollection. And I tried looking through my notes here quickly too, Roger, just to see if I could catch anything that you had mentioned. As I'm flipping ahead to on the screen, there's not a whole lot on the second page. And Roger, you very well could have just echoed what Christy had said as well. So
I know, and I think part of my earlier recollection of comments had to do though, and the two issues are sort of blending in my memory here about the harassment policy had initially way back not mentioned ability, people with very different abilities. And I think that was the earlier document that caught my eye. And I don't remember what my input was or regarding this particular document. Other than that, I don't think we were consulted as a commission for input before this was put forth. And so I think maybe without even recalling any areas where we thought needed change, I think that we maybe at a high level talked about at least at some point reviewing this to see, whether it needed to be tweaked.
Right. Excellent. All right. Certainly not trying to cut anyone else. Did any of the others or of your others have feedback, see anything in this policy? I believe sort of as much as possible up here. That you would like to make sure we add to the email that we're sending back to William.
Hmm.
All right. So I would love to accept a motion to have our wonderful clerk draft an email highlighting the concerns that we just enumerated as a group to send to the assistant town administrator to get his feedback and see what next steps will be for us hopefully making some modifications, I'll say, to the town's grievance policy.
So moved.
Second.
And Paul is our second.
Thank you.
Christy, did you get all that?
Okay.
You're so amazing.
Yep.
All right. Any further
Well,
discussion?
This is a fast typer. That's all I am.
This one typo above the ADA coordinator in the middle, that it says within 60 calendar days. I'm a stickler for grammar, within. So no, but
All right.
okay.
All right. Well, let me actually back out of this. Then hearing no further discussion, want to vote on the motion by roll call. Roger Trahan,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Paul Letourneau,
Aye.
Bob Berger,
Burger, aye.
Rob Paulsonelli, aye. And with that, I declare the motion carried 6-0. Christy, thank you. I really appreciate you
You're
getting the
welcome.
ball rolling on this. And I don't, for whatever it is worth, I do think it'll be a very easy process. William, again, was very welcoming and has been with everything that we've come to him with anyway. So, like I said, I think it'll just, it'll be a great little update and serve the town well. So, all right. A couple old business items. The Grafton Common, just including it there because the project has not been initiated nor completed, but I don't have any new updates on that. I added the interpreter cart for the town meeting, Bob, just since we had discussed that in a little more depth, and I know you were, I think, going to follow up about the cart part.
I am, and I haven't.
Okay.
But I'll just say that we still have one interpreter for May 13th. We're still looking for the second. I emailed all 3 agencies, and they're still actively looking on it. And when we get down to new business, I'll talk about some other things.
Oh, great. Okay. But that's great that we at least haven't lost the first one yet.
No, we have not.
And there's still a couple months, so fingers crossed. But thank you for the continued efforts on that front, Bob. Just again, putting it in here for thoroughness, our annual report was submitted after the last meeting. We actually found 2 typos, not anything of significance. We had ACC instead of AAC, I think in like 2 places. So Cindy just made those quick updates and we're officially accepted and we were not, just not pointing out anybody else, but we were not the last committee in town to submit the report. So.
Library was. I'll own that one personally. You called me out. You called me out. I was the last holdout.
Fantastic. Yep. Did you guys get it in?
Yes, we did. And I have to thank Cindy. She's
fantastic.
She is. And the thing is too, it's not only getting on everyone's case, that because it's in the charter that there's end of January deadline, and compiling it, but also actually reading through all of them for form and grammar and is to normally pick any other town, would that have been caught? Maybe that person who was compiling them wouldn't have taken it upon themselves to also proofread everything, and that is actually like a 300-page report when it's done. So yeah, Cindy, kudos.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, wonderful. I was pleasantly surprised that she caught those errors.
Yeah, and then so I just want to clarify that the library actually this is library trustees, not there's 2 different reports. Shannon Phelan did the library one and did an awesome job in time, but now this was my doing for the library trustees, which is a separate report. Yeah.
Gotcha. All good things, right? And their due time. So that is all done. And again, Alexis, thank you very much too for your help tremendously on all that. Podium accessibility, again, I don't think there's any new discussion. I just wanted to confirm, Bob, were you able to speak with Justin?
I have not been able to get in touch with him. Still working on it. It's been very, very busy. It's crazy.
Okay. Oh, I understand. I do. All right. And we can leave that on as a placeholder, just to close in the loop, nothing big there.
Well, F is going to close the loop.
What's that?
F is going to close the loop.
Oh, perfect. the banner for the webpage, I did not do any follow-up inquiries or anything further. I did want to leave it on though, because I do love the idea. So because I haven't done anything, I do want to open up and see if anyone wants to talk more about it now, or do we just want to sort of table that and maybe come back around to it next month or so?
This is the idea of having a running banner on our site about like
yes.
October is in National Employment of People with Disabilities Month, something like that.
Amen. Yes.
Table it.
Yeah.
Table for now? Okay.
Table for now. Come back
But
to
again,
it.
a wonderful idea. So I want to make sure we do leave it on there. All right. A little bit of meat on this one. So the email address change and responding from a shared account. And give me 1 second just to pull this up. So I did follow up with Cindy. The old disability at Grafton-MA, et cetera, email address is now forwarding emails to our new accessibility advisory commission email, which is accessibility@grafton-ma.gov. So we have, yeah. So, and that should be, I think, updated on the website also in the like email us link, but I personally have not confirmed that. But
I'm typing it right now, unless someone's beating me to the punch.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, come on. All the times for me to get bogged down.
All right.
It's still the old one. It's still the old one. I'll just send William an email because I think he might be the updater for that one.
No, I think it's Cindy.
Oh, she does.
I think it is Cindy.
The link on our webpage.
No,
that says email us.
No, that could be William.
Okay. And that's why I think it's not done, is because it's two different. I'll send William a quick email. It'll take 2 seconds and he'll have it done in literally less time than it takes me probably to put the email together. So excuse me. So just again, that's updated finally. Roger, thank you for continuing to remind us about that and making sure it got done. It was long overdue. I mean, literally 1.5 years, 2 years. What are we getting?
It was something that fell. I mean, it was such a small item compared to all the other changes that we did. But it occurred to me that we hadn't addressed that.
Yep. No, absolutely perfect. And again, easy fix. It went quick. It was easy. So thank you for staying on it. Part 2 that we talked about last time is responding from this shared account. And Bob, it sounds like you might have some extra thoughts on this too. I'm going to tell you what I got back from Cindy first, and then I'll let you share whatever other insights you've got to add. So she said they have the ability to set up distribution emails is what she called it, but she said those are really for sending things out to a large group, and if there's any sort of back and forth, it would not work at all. Her suggestion was we create a sort of a dummy account, and she gave an example of a name, something like accessibilityclerk@gmail.com. So one or two of us would one of us would set up some, again, sort of quasi-related email address on a free account. Make sure that at least 2 or 3 of us have the password and could access it. And then we would email that information to Cindy. She would add that email address to our distribution list for the accessibility at grafton-ma.gov email address now. So our group email. So that one where we all get all the, all those emails. This sort of newly created account would be attached as another recipient on that. And if we received a correspondence from, Joe Public, whoever has that password or whoever we designate would sign into that account, reply from that account, but do the reply also. It's continuously going to the whole group, but then none of our personal email addresses become the sender, which Cindy did confirm, by the by. I think we had done it during the meeting, but yeah, so it won't be attached to any one of our personal email accounts, but that email response, like we had talked about, just confirming we received it. Thank you for the input. We're going to have it on our next meeting's agenda, at such and such date and time. That was her suggestion, and that sort of, kind of keeps it all together. We're not adding something different that we're going to start doing different things with. We'll keep it tied into the larger group email. So that was Cindy's suggestion. I personally think it's a good one. I think it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Bob, what do you got?
But yeah, in exactly how you explained it. But the problem is, and it's not a problem, but our clerk would probably set this up, and it would be a Gmail account. They're going to set up a brand new Gmail account.
Yep.
And then they're going to respond, or she's going to respond to the generic email from, like, let's say, Mr. Wood.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if there's a way to not show the address, because I'd like it to still look like the Grafton address.
Yeah, I don't think there doesn't seem to be a way. And that was why her suggestion was something like accessibilityclerk@gmail.com. We might want to throw the word Grafton in there.
Why don't we say Grafton Accessibility Commission at Gmail? Right. I mean, something that identifies us exactly.
But it's too long, in my opinion.
Huh?
What do you think about setting up a Gmail account?
Mr. Chair,
yeah, Roger, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to, Mr. Berger, right before you had started your comment. All right, so Alexis had asked what my comment was, and it was that there's certain things that just seem too long, as far as email addresses.
Right, but if we follow what Rob was describing, someone would get that in response. Do you see what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be, your first inquiry would go to the official town one. The
official hardcore group.
Gotcha.
So the response, so you'd always have it. It's like, so it would come back from, the Grafton accessibility@gmail.com, and then correspondence could go back and forth. But I mean, if people know anything about how to manage their email, you don't have to repeat it. It's already in your email. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're just replying.
You're just replying, or you're corresponding back and forth. So, and it's probably not going to be something that's used a handful of times in a year, right?
Quite literally. I mean, that at least historically. And I'd add 2 points to that. One, I think we would want to discourage it being a forum for communication. Again, the idea is just to notice the sender of the original email that we're going to discuss whatever concern, issue, etc. they brought up.
Right. So it might not even be very much communication back and forth.
Correct. And then part 2, I think we would want to add a line, we can just put it in the signature or what have you, that just says, if responding, please reply to all, to make sure, again, that any response they might send, even if it's just a thank you or something acknowledging the receipt, that would come back to the entire group, or at least encourage people to do it that way, so that we do have that paper trail attached to our official account rather than it, at some point sort of fractioning out to only the Gmail account side of things. So
would it require then someone kind of logging in and monitoring? Has anything? I mean, it's mostly for us to respond, right? To respond, and then if somebody responds back, oh, I'd like if we said thank you for bringing this issue to the commission. If you'd like to participate in our meeting, the next meeting, or your issue will be discussed at the next meeting, and you're free to attend. Something like that, they might respond back to the Gmail, right? They would be
there's a chance for sure.
So we'd have to have somebody kind of checking the Gmail account.
Correct, but we wouldn't need them to do it regularly, only after I think we've sent correspondence.
Right, we wouldn't use it. Okay.
Otherwise, because I mean, I think if people at any point start sending things to that, I mean, we just want to redirect them and back to the proper Grafton -ma.gov address. Bob, can we go back to your question?
Roger had his hand up.
Is this a new line, Roger? Or are you finishing up on? Is this a new line?
No, it was oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Mr. Berger, you proceed. I just lost my train of thought.
Okay. So I'm envisioning our clerk opening up a Gmail account and monitoring it. Can we do that?
Jan?
Okay, I remembered what I was going to say. I think because under the open meeting law, certain communications are, I guess, public. Even between like you and me, if it's about a town matter and we each have an individual account, and don't even let me back up a second. Ignore the fact that I even mentioned the open meeting law, but I'm thinking to myself that as a best practice, if we are going to be representing a certain email account as coming from a town committee, it just seems an oddity that it would be owned by an individual, yet we as a committee are saying, well, this is our email address, or this is where it would come from.
I had that discussion with Cindy, and we
Okay.
can't do it any other way.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we don't want to do this, then we don't do it.
Okay.
But, you know, if we get these inquiries from some concerned citizens, we have no way of throwing an email back to them without giving up our personal email.
Gotcha.
That's the only problem.
Correct. And Bob, if I just add to that, which is the exact same problem you're discussing, Roger. I mean,
and maybe we could pay for it. Maybe we could agree to have it, maybe paid for. We got that $700 account, right?
Gmail, we don't need to pay for anything.
Why do we have to pay for it? Gmail is, you don't have to pay for.
Oh, all right. That's true.
What would you be paying for?
Gmail, yeah, Gmail is free. Okay. Of course.
But I think, I mean, just almost without trying to overthink it, just as long as we're CCing the accessibility commission actual email address on any correspondence that comes through that account. I mean, it just keeps it in the loop.
But are we thinking that Cindy or someone in town would respond, or one of us would respond?
It's the clerk.
No.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Chris. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You, Christy.
Yeah. Christy or designate. I mean, and to that end, right?
Right.
You know, if there were ever.
I'm sorry, I was like misunderstanding what you were saying, Bob. I'm thinking like, really, the town clerk is going to respond to our emails? No, that's.
No, but I think again, we're really talking about just a stock response. The only changes will be what that next meeting date is, and what and
okay.
Yeah,
so
again, keep it simple, people.
I just typed in Gmail, can you hide email address? Gmail has its own way of keeping your email address hidden. You can do a quick by adding a word or a plus sign to your email. So there's a way so people don't even see that it's coming from a Gmail account. So there's got to be a way.
Using an alias. You'd use an alias.
That's right. And our alias will just be, because you're just responding. We really don't want anything coming back. Right. So we don't want them to grab it and reply, period. Somebody gives us a complaint. Somebody gives us something. You know what? We're going to put it on the next agenda. Please look for blah, blah, blah. Our next meeting, so-and-so, push it out. But they don't get the opportunity to say reply. That's the way to go. We better hurry up.
When someone's got an email, even if you blind, I'm asking, like, even if you blind the email address, if they want to reply, they're going to reply, right? And the Gmail is going to come back to, right? Like if I raised an issue, and it came to this commission and I got an email back saying, thank you very much, whatever we might say, I might respond back. Someone might respond again.
There are emails.
I'm not saying that we have to have this big communication, but once you put an email out there, you could get a reply.
I just stole the screen.
Right. So I'm just asking, and I don't know technically, even if you keep it an alias, does that mean if someone hits reply all, we're still going to get it?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, so I think this is something that we'll have to, well, somebody's gonna have to look at.
Yeah, I have never
Yeah,
done.
that's interesting.
So then how do they forward it to us, the complaint?
It's not, it's we'd be
It's
put,
automatically,
we'd be
right?
put on the distribution list. So when somebody emails the commission, we automatically get it.
The Gmail
And the new
Gmail
account will get it.
gets it. It's like another
Okay.
person.
I think it can be done,
Mhm.
but I'm not that smart.
Am I understanding correctly, though, your thought is we would still be setting up sort of the dummy account or whatever you want to call it, and then just trying to sort of block that from showing up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sort of like
yeah.
having an offshore account.
So who's going to set up the account?
I'm in Gmail. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Tag, you're it.
I figured I would be.
Mr. Chan.
Mr. Chair, just in the future, this particular topic brought up the thought that the fact that we're discussing this and having to sort of rehash what did we once do necessarily means that we hadn't codified this in an accessibility advisory commission policy in the same way that the select board has policies. And I think that this discussion is sort of, I think, giving us a hint that we probably need to head in that direction sooner rather than later, that so that it's always like enshrined on our own web page, so that some other group of 7 or however many people there are 3 years down the road isn't saying, what do we do when someone wants to email us and we're having the same discussion because we didn't really put it into a commission policy?
I thought we did. I thought we had conversation, and I thought we said that the chair would respond, recognizing the complaint and putting them on the agenda for further discussion at the next meeting.
All right, then we didn't, I guess, I don't know if we took a vote on that, then we really didn't take the next steps of sort of keeping it in our heads to then put that on the web page as a policy, so that it would sort of forever be enshrined as, okay, for reference, instead of trying to think back when we last discussed it and what we voted on, that we would take, we didn't take it to the next step of putting it on our web page. And so whether this takes the place, this updated discussion sort of erases all that, and then from here on in, we agree to some wording, I think it would be beneficial to then list this as a sort of communication policy.
Sure.
Not necessarily tonight, but at some point in the near future, that however we either vote tonight or tweak it, either by vote or by consensus, that this policy be somehow enshrined on our own web page.
Why don't I talk to William next time he's back into town hall?
Okay.
Take a boilerplate policy that they have, because they must have some boilerplate. Bring it back to this board, and we can work on that policy to put it on paper.
Sounds like a great idea.
I think it's fantastic.
I even wrote it down.
Oh,
You
good.
rock.
You just disappeared.
I know. My green screen.
Yeah, and there's actually some real estate left on the webpage for whatever it's worth. I was sitting here just like, if we do put a policy, where would we put the policy? There's room either underneath the charge, underneath the members.
And then
If
again,
you have
who
a
signs
couple
it?
links down there.
Do
What
we
was that?
sign it? Do we sign the policy? Does the select board sign the policy?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what rules on policies for subcommittees or not subcommittees. So we are official, or we're commission. But Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I'll
William
ask,
will know though.
I'll ask William. But you're right. We should have something written down.
Yeah, just to memorialize it.
Yeah, 5 years down the road when somebody, what did they do?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially too, I think, and Chrissy might have said it earlier, but I mean, this happens so few and far between. It can be a very easy thing to forget or sort of get lost in the shuffle.
Agreed.
So, okay. Well, with that, I guess I'll accept a motion to have Mr. Berger follow up with our assistant TA, sorry, um, and see what the rules might be for us to follow is in terms of implementing a policy and if he has something that we could work from moving forward.
Moved. So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
Excellent, excellent. Christy, let me know when you're done. I see you still feverishly typing.
Yes, so I have Mr. Berger will follow up with Mr. Blake regarding the rules for implementing a policy of creating policies. I forget. I'm sorry. I'm
That's okay.
Could you remind me what you were saying? Implementing a policy
From
the
I think creating a
commission.
policy. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. From the commission. Right, because it's
And
from the commission versus the select board. Okay. And Paul seconded. Okay, thank you. Got it.
Any further discussion, folks? All right, by roll call, Roger Shahan.
Aye.
Christy Pachter.
Aye.
Alexis Henry.
Aye.
Paula Torno.
Aye.
Bob Berger.
Berger, aye.
Paul Snelly, aye. And with that, I declare the motion carried 6-0. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for the input. Good stuff. And it'll be nice to have this sort of settled and be able to respond to people. I mean, that's the part that just bothers me. Nice to know people. Like we got it. We're going to talk about it. So that's great. All right. Does anyone have any other old business items that I'm forgetting? Excellent. New business items. Mr. Berger, did you?
I do.
Yeah.
So the recreation director reached out to me and they're having an awards dinner March 29th for, I think, first graders to 12th graders. And they requested, this is the first time this has happened, they requested a translator, 2 translators for that for that ceremony. So I've been working diligently on getting them a couple interpreters, and we did it. So we have a couple set up.
Congratulations.
And I just want to share my screen because we've never done this.
Yeah, please.
And we also had some bad information that they told us it was going to be on Saturday, the 30th. Then they turned around and said, oh, no. It's on the 29th. I said, I'm never going to have this happen again. So here's the new form that we developed. And it's on our Grafton webpage.
Oh, nice.
So here's the type of service, the date. Let's get it right. The location. And they have to give us any written material, which I still have to work on that. The contact, who's going to greet the people when they come in. And then I want the department head to sign. Then it goes over to the accountant department and they tell me where I'm getting the money from. And then on the back side is just notes that I'm taking on who I contacted, what's their name, who fulfilled the request, what's the assignment number, and who's it assigned to. So this is our new form that we developed, and I'm kind of proud of it.
It looks great.
And if you do this, I don't know if it will work on this computer. It probably won't, because I don't have my email set up on this. Oh, it did. Hold on. Look at this. This is really cool. So you press that button and it emails me, and I gave it a subject line.
That's awesome.
And this is me patting myself on the back.
There you go. Looks great.
So it's easy. Mr. Chan.
Yeah, just a couple of items. and when various functions are advertised, oftentimes people will overlook the day of the week and they'll put just the date. But that's fine. That's not like something that is so crucial that it has to be on every form. But sometimes I've seen where someone said, "Oh yeah, it's like Saturday the 1st." It's like, well, wait a minute. Saturday's the 2nd. Did you mean Saturday and you put the wrong date, or did you put the wrong?
Yeah.
Did you put the right date but the wrong day of the week? And I'm wondering if having the day and the date both listed, that it's a checks and balances to make sure that you're absolutely requesting something for the correct
You know what,
function.
it makes sense.
Exactly.
It makes sense because that's probably why they picked the 30th instead of the 29th. Because, is it the leap year problem? Might be.
Right.
So
And then
I will
I'm
update
sorry.
this form. I will
Thank
update
you. I think it's a great form. The other question I had is I'll use the word illuminance, but the lay term is contrast. But the blue versus black on your email address, I just personally find it more difficult to read like grayscale or like light blue. Oftentimes when we put hyperlinks for email addresses, they change the color. Sometimes you'll see them go to purple or blue, and then sometimes you actually have to go back. So is it a Word document that opens or is it a PDF?
PDF.
Okay, so
looks like it's a fillable PDF, right?
Of course it is.
so does that so it's possible then it may revert. It may want to revert to a color other than black. That's all. That if we have the ability to put an email address in black, I mean, I can only speak for myself that I think it's more readable. But
Can you
sometimes
see
what
my
will happen,
screen? Can you
yeah,
see my screen?
not the bot. Well, yes, I can see your screen right now.
Does
Okay,
that make you happy now?
I am happy. I'm
And I hit
happy.
save.
Awesome.
Done.
Because sometimes these documents can be kind of funky and automatically switch to color, you know?
I do.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So the only other new business item I had was just inquiring with the group what we think about reapplying for the ADA grant that I talked about way back when at the beginning. And it sounded like we were all sort of in line, so I will happily accept a motion to work with the assistant town administrator on reapplying for the MOD's ADA improvement grant.
So moved.
Which grant though?
The $250,000 grant.
Is this
Okay.
the same? The idea is basically resubmitting
so
what was submitted before.
Yeah, we have a motion.
We
Do we have a second?
Okay.
I make a motion that we apply.
Oh,
There's
sorry,
already a
Paul.
motion.
Paul, we already had a motion. Do we have a second?
Oh, second.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul. Sorry about that. Formalities. Discussion, folks.
I understand.
So just to
Alexis?
clarify, this is resubmitting. Did we get any feedback that where anybody might want to tweak the proposal?
I don't believe so.
Any sense we have like where we missed the mark? And
Mr. Chan?
All right. So it's basically funding. This, and I don't know if this is the 5th of 5 years. MOD had about $10 million. And I don't know if it was William Joyce. I forget who told me this originally. It was $10 million earmarked, and it was given to MOD, and they decided to split it up and equally do $2 million each of 5 years. And each year there's about anywhere between 130, 140 applications all going for these funds. And I think part of it is a funding issue, that for all of the items that have gotten additional funding over the years, including recently, these recent supplemental budgets, that this particular piece has sort of been off the radar either by accident or it's been requested by MOD and it hasn't been fulfilled. But yeah, so every year there's just so many that get approved, and actually there's no limit. Like if a town can apply for 5, and the fact that they apply for 5 doesn't work against them. Sometimes a town will receive multiple grants and then another town won't. So I think it was just a funding constraint.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's a great question, Alexis, and I'm going to piggyback on what Roger said too. The advancing of the open or application period is probably indicative that they actually cut short because they weren't sure if they were going to have the money in the fall, because that's when there were budget constraints, there were cash shortfalls. But I don't know if you guys noticed, the end date for the application period is June 14th.
Oh,
which, yeah. So it's one of two things. Either they found more money or realized that they will still have it by the end and they want to get it in underneath.
They want to get it in this fiscal year.
Or they felt bad that they couldn't fund as much as they normally would, and they're going to do it literally on, July 1st for FY25. And sort of, yeah, behind the scenes. But yeah, those dates were advanced this year for a reason. Very good. Any other discussion? Very cool. All right. Well, that being said, I will take the vote by roll call. Roger Trahan.
Aye.
Christy Proctor.
Aye.
Alexis Henry.
Aye.
Paul Letourneau.
Aye.
Bob Berger.
Geez, I'm last all night. Aye.
I know you're down the bottom right. Paul Snelly, aye. With that, I declare the motion carried 6-0. Thank you, folks. And I'll send William the notice that we are recommending that he resubmit the last one. If he wants the updated letter too, I have the last one. I'll just update it accordingly. Update the dates, so it'll be quick and easy and give that to him. So yeah, cool. Any other new items, folks?
No, we're adjourned.
Well, not yet.
Oh.
Next meeting, Tuesday, April 9th, 6:30. Hopefully we'll have a fuller house. And with that, I will happily take a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we did.
Second.
No, nobody.
No.
Oh.
Paul, you can be first.
I'll be first.
You're first.
Oh, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you, Paul.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Berger, seconds. Any discussion, folks? All right. By a roll call, Roger Trahan.
Aye.
Christy Proctor.
Aye.
Bob Berger.
Aye.
I just throw it out of sequence. Alexis Henry.
Aye.
Paul Letourneau.
Aye.
Rob Snelly, aye. With that, I declare the motion carried 6-0. And we are adjourned.